You have found us, the number one podcast for you. You get up every day, get after it, bringing fitness to those around you. Sometimes, whether you know it or not, in every podcast, we talk about important things. And I got an important thing that I want to talk about. And I'm always farming for not so important things. And I found it, some not so important things. But this is all about bringing fitness full circle, physical health, wealth, risk, emotional fitness, spiritual fitness, all the ways that we keep people fit, coming right up. In today's podcast, we have with us guest co-host, amazing friend, and BC Fitness member, Jennifer Brantley, subbing in for Kim Aker, who had her baby on the 22nd. Annie Jean Aker was born 7 pounds, 14 ounces. Both mom and baby are doing phenomenal, but Kim's going to be out a little while, and I am interviewing this chica for co-host, but we'll see how she does. Also, toasting to your health with alcoholic beverages may not be so healthy after all. This is coming to you from Harvard Health, so listen up. And the beer chug girl returns to the U.S. Open. Not so important news. We're going to dive into that. The beer chug girl was back. And I have, like I said, special guest Jennifer Brantley, who is also a teacher. And so she is going to engage in the first ever Minute to Win It, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grade series. That's all coming right up next, guys. All right, podcast fans, this is the part of the podcast where we talk about the unofficial sponsor of the Fitness Full Circle podcast, the Coffee Oasis. Jen, you a coffee drinker?
I actually didn't start drinking coffee until about 4 years ago.
Holy.
So I'm really particular. I either have my Keurig coffee that I would drink with French vanilla creamer, or I'll go to Starbucks and I get a specific drink from them. That's it.
Oh man, you just broke my heart.
Why?
This whole interview for this co-host thing, it's not off to a very good start. Okay, I'm going to tell you, when you buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks,
yes,
what do you get?
I typically get an iced caramel latte with 6 pumps of caramel.
Wow. Okay. But
I should not tell my trainer that.
But that is all you get. That is all you get. But when you buy a cup of coffee or a caramel macchiato with 6 pumps in it, I had a heart attack just thinking about it. You get something more, right? You don't just get the cup of coffee. You get to help with community outreach. You get to help with sheltering, with clothing, with mentoring. You get all these other things that come along with that cup of coffee when you buy a cup of coffee from the Coffee Oasis that you're not going to get from other places.
Wow.
So yeah, and I know you didn't know that, and this isn't even planned this way. I'm sure you didn't know that. And so what they do is they have shelters, they have community outreach, they have clothing, they have all these different things that happens because of their coffee business.
Wow, that's a great program.
Yeah. So one of the things that we always say, our tagline and all this, and you'll get to know this, is that where you buy your coffee doesn't mean much to you, but it means everything to them. Coffee Oasis is restoring communities through compassionate youth programs and coffee business. So you know how we support that?
How?
Buy their coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
So Coffee Oasis, I'm coming for my caramel latte.
There's 6 pumps. Get ready. It's gonna have to come out of like the 55-gallon drum or something.
I'm gonna take a picture. You can see it on Facebook.
Yeah, deal. We're gonna hold it to it. So get out there and buy some coffee. All right, listener comments this week. A little light on listener comments, but we did get a couple of great ones. Mike from Bremerton said, Coffee Oasis is a community oasis. Great quote, Scotty Mack. Scotty Mack was a guest on the last podcast, did an absolutely phenomenal job. He was also the co-host, the person that you're competing against for this coveted co-host spot, just so you know. And then Kim Aker, that name might sound familiar to podcast listeners. She said about the last podcast, she got a couple of pros right there. Sad to miss this episode. Great job. Thank you, Kim Aker, for giving us that vote of confidence. I think that confidence was more for Scotty Mack than it was for me, but nonetheless. But just like in every one of our podcasts, leave a comment and get entered into win a free Fitness Full Circle t-shirt. That drawing is coming up on podcast 20. This, of course, is podcast 17. So you don't have to raise your hand here. You need permission to speak freely.
Well, because I teach my kids, so raise your hand, wait to be called on.
There you go.
I like free stuff, so where do I leave a comment?
You know what? That's a great question. At any one of our places where you pick it up at, where you can go, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, our Facebook page, the Fitness Full Circle Facebook page, YouTube, anywhere a comment exists. If you have my cell phone number, text me.
Slide it under your door.
Slide it under my door. But what you might know is that these comments, they have to be positive comments, because we have a software. We created software that only filters in the positive comments. So if you got a negative comment, we won't even see it.
Okay.
It just automatically gets filtered. But that's a great question. Thank you for asking.
Brett is awesome. That works.
That's preferred, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, leave the comment and get yourself a free t-shirt if you love free stuff like Jen does. All right, in important news, I pulled this one off. This actually came from Harvard Medical. It was a great article that I saw. Anyway, there's been a lot of discussion over the last few years, let's even say decades, about, is alcohol good for you? Is alcohol bad for you? And you probably heard that at some point. You probably heard, a couple of glasses of wine a day is probably better for you because of all these different things. Well, they just did a study in Massachusetts General Hospital, which is a Harvard affiliated hospital, where they checked out the study of the studies. And really interesting fact is that the idea was that light drinking, which is between
let's define that.
Yeah, 1 to 6 times per week of a serving. Now I want to talk about a serving because I know that your serving of wine might come in like a
water bottle,
a vase,
size,
yeah, like where you put your flowers in. But it's 5 ounces. 5 ounces is a serving of wine.
And 1 to 6 times, is that okay if it's in one day? Or you gotta spread that out?
I'm good for the week.
Oh,
Up to 6 times for the week. No, one to 2 drinks per day. Not for the full week is what's considered light drinking. And that was said to be those that they studied in there were said to be healthier people because of the small consumption of alcohol. Well, they went to work on that, and they realized in that there were some errors in that study. And so they have come out with this new research. It was published March 25th, 2022, in the JAMA Network Open. I'm sure you read that a lot. But it actually said that one of the reasons why that this consumption was so unique is that the people that they were actually checking were healthier, and those that were actually moderating their alcohol intake were generally healthier people who had healthier diets. They exercised, they didn't smoke, and so it kind of somewhat falsified the evidence.
Okay. So that word, that's key, right? Moderation.
Moderate, yeah. So, and because those that moderated were actually better at moderating a lot of other aspects of their life as well. So that's why they actually had the lower risks. It's not because of the alcohol, but because they already engaged in better fitness lifestyles. Yeah, and even better so than the abstinent group. Those that abstained weren't as healthy. That was just a choice that they made not to engage in alcohol. They weren't necessarily the healthier group. So yeah, the evidence that says that you're gonna live longer. Let's toast a long life by having a drink. Maybe not as accurate as everyone seems to think.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really kind of a neat article on that. So yeah, obviously those in the moderate, which is classified as 8.5 to 15 drinks a week, and heavy, which is 15.5 to 24 drinks a week. Woohoo! Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So anyway, those
on the ground.
Yeah, those people. Yeah, that can't be good for you. Those people who engage in that obviously had higher risks of those. But the truth of the matter is that everything's good in moderation, right? Not to say that you have to swear off alcohol necessarily, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea that having a couple drinks is good for you, because it's not actually good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And not so important news. You got to check this one, man. If you missed this one, the Beer Chug girl returns to the US Open, actually making tennis worth watching.
Oh my God.
All right. Kim, I shared this.
I'm Jen, but continue.
I told her before that we were going to do that. Jen, I shared this with you before. We got to break this down. In the stands of the annual tennis championship, a new tradition is brewing. Literally, the Beer Chug girl, she actually has a name, so we can call her Megan Lucky. That's not a stripper name, but it gets up, stands up, and she chugs this beer last year, only to be followed up this year with the same stunt. One of the interesting things is, in the sports world, they took this to the next level. She matched her time. That beer was down in 7.37 seconds both times. So she kept that going.
Oh my gosh! So she somehow become an athlete during a tennis match.
Maybe tennis. You don't really do the wave at tennis. There's not really a lot of stuff you can do at tennis. So Lucky just gets up and chugs a beer. And kind of the unique thing about this is that she was not ugly. She was not ugly.
I will tell you, like, you told me about this beer chug girl, and I just had all these visions in my head, like maybe like size like you, and just I don't know, joggers and a sweatshirt.
Yeah,
and
maybe some kind of flannel.
Yeah. And then you showed me, well, let's talk about the first video, right? She's blonde girl with this big, like a camo or an olive green.
It looked like some kind of army jacket. It was military.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. And she stands up, she drinks, she's like, yay. And then you show me that second video, and now she's ready for screen time because she is mini and her dress is fitted.
They're about to be clubbing after this, for sure. Yeah.
And I think her boyfriend is like soaking it in, because he was like in a button-up shirt. And now the first time he was sitting, second time he's standing, and he's trying to get people involved.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I saw the first one. I was like, that does not look like the same girl, but she was ready to go. She was ready to go. The US Open was ready for her. They panned and they knew just what to do with Beer Chug girl.
Oh my gosh. I want to know her secret though. How does she chug beer and fit into that little dress?
I know. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I know. I did the same thing when I heard Beer Chug girl returns to the US Open. I was like, I gotta check this out, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, no way.
It's not a pretty nickname, that's why too.
No.
Beer Chug girl.
Yeah. What's your claim to fame? But she's tearing it up on Instagram. She's all about it on Instagram. So I'm
surprised she doesn't have a beer sponsor yet.
I bet that's in the mix. That's
Lucky. You need to work on that.
Yeah,
Get yourself a sponsor.
Don't they have like Lucky brand beer or something too?
I think it's a cigarette.
Oh yeah.
And jeans. I think there's jeans.
But what she needs to understand is that, like we just talked about in the prior segment, this isn't helping her health at all. Right. I don't think that chugging a beer in 7.37 seconds is what we consider to be moderation.
No.
So anyway, tune into the US Open for any other reason than to watch the Beer Chug girl be slamming these beers, because that's really the only way that I think it would make it that it would be interesting anyway.
Yeah.
So if she is looking for a sponsor, hey, we can sponsor Megan Lucky if she is one of the 15 and a half listeners. That's how many listeners we have. We have 15 and a half listeners.
How do you get half? I feel like that's someone my height qualifies for a half.
It might, if you're 5 foot and under, it's considered to be a half. But I don't know. We have to check because Kim just had Annie, and so we might have to count Annie as a full one now. So I'm not really sure when it comes down. Anyway, I'll drop the link to this on the description so you can check this out. Because if you haven't seen Beer Chug Girl, you're clearly missing out. I was just thinking about this. What if I want to increase my listenership, right? We have 15 and a half listeners. What if maybe podcast 18, You are the podcast beer chug girl.
What?
Yeah.
As long as I don't have to wear that little dress.
Yeah. No, you got to. You got to. So yeah, we're gonna do our own. You're coming back for another podcast. I don't care you're doing terrible on this one.
What
You're
about
gonna
we
come
compete?
back for drinking.
Oh, let's see who can chug faster.
Oh man.
But I'm a half person size, so I get a half person serving.
Okay. We'll do that. Maybe it may not be alcohol, but maybe we'll see if we can beat the 7.37 chug. Deal?
Okay.
Deal. It's on. Let's give me nuts for that one. There we go. It's on. All right, Jen, anybody who's watched even one of our podcasts know that I require my guest and co-host to entertain me. And so I'm going to entertain you I'm going to be entertained by you with a series of questions that I want to give you in a minute to win it.
I'm scared.
Yeah. All of our prior co-hosts and guests have all had to compete for their ability to continue along with this podcast. So in this, you have to get at least second place.
Wait, what's second place? What first place get?
First and second place move on. But you're only going against yourself.
Okay.
So what we're going to do with the first time in podcast history, we're going to do a minute to win it. And in honor of you being a school teacher, I'm going to ask you questions to see if you're smarter than a fifth grader.
I don't teach fifth grade, right?
I know you don't teach fifth grade, and we're probably going to find out why you don't teach fifth grade here. So anyway,
I didn't go to school in the States, so if it's American history, I'm
it's not. There's not very much American history.
Okay.
I pulled these questions myself, and so anyway, you're gonna have a minute to answer as many as you can as possible. You can pass, but you can only pass through the questions that I ask you. You're only gonna have 15 questions, so you can pass, and we can move on to the next one to see how many you can get.
And if I get through it, will we come back to those questions that said pass?
Yes.
Did you try these questions? Did you know the answers?
I knew the answer to every one of these.
Did you really?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Are you
ready? Can I call a friend?
You cannot call a friend.
Can I drag a friend?
You're on your own. I'm gonna set the dreaded timer, the dreaded studio timer, and we're gonna go. Okay. You ready?
No. Go.
Good. What are the 3 articles commonly used in the U.S. in the English language?
Articles?
Yeah.
Not second grade level. Pass.
Okay. What is the answer to 77 times 10 times 0?
0.
Deal.
Woo!
What is the biggest star in the universe?
What?
What is the biggest star in the universe?
I don't like pressure.
Who wrote the play Othello?
Pass.
English is the most Shakespeare. English is the most commonly related to what language?
Latin.
German.
What?
Yep. Which is the capital of Hungary?
I don't know. Pass.
Budapest.
Oh my God, I did know that.
If Barbara turns,
if Barbara, you said hungry.
If Barbara is facing north and turns, if Barbara, you don't know Barbara, right? If Barbara Streisand is facing north and turns 90 degrees to her left, which direction is she facing now?
90 degrees. She's facing this way. What's this? West?
West. Winner. Which cloud is also referred to as fair weather clouds?
Cumulus. Sirius.
Cumulus, you're right. What is the homophone for the word one?
One.
Okay. Oh man, girl.
O-N-E, W-N, W-O-N?
Yeah, either of them.
Sure.
Which huge waterfall separates the United States and Canada? Niagara.
Woo!
Name the capital of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, I'm running a blank. Pass.
Okay. How many congruent bases are there present in a solid prism?
Pass. I can't think. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What are the 3 articles commonly used in the English language?
What's an article?
A, and the.
Oh. I promise you, your kids are learning with me.
Name the biggest star in the universe. The sun.
Sun. Wait, give me a moment.
Nope. The capital of Hungary is Budapest.
Yes.
You got that part right. The capital city is Oklahoma City, and there are 2 congruent bases present in a solid prism.
Oh, goodness
Yeah.
me. This is why I don't teach fifth grade.
This is why you don't teach
But
fifth grade.
if you ask me what makes the sound B,
Yeah.
I can tell you.
You're on it? Okay, good.
2 + 2,
Yeah.
I got that.
The cow goes moo. Gotcha. We're solid. Well,
But did you know moo in Thai is pig?
I did not know that.
Now
That's
you
amazing.
know. Now
I
you're
do.
a little smarter
No,
because
I
of
am.
the second
I am.
grade teacher.
Now I'm smarter than a second grade teacher. Perfect. That's awesome. You did a great job. I'll have to go back to the video review to see how many you got correct. But it was quite a few. You actually did pretty good. I think.
If I get fired, you have to get me a new job.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Well, podcast co-host may just be in the cards after all. Anyway. So great job, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Jen, tremendous job there.
You didn't call me Kim.
I did not call you Kim. Yeah, I have the ability to learn. You're a very great teacher. You taught me well. So you did a great job. We the vote's out whether you're smarter than a fifth grader, but we already talked about it. You don't teach fifth grade, so you don't have to. But anyway, this is the part where I want to introduce you. Not only are you a phenomenal co-host that you come on to be a co-host, you're a dear friend of mine. You're a BC Fitness member, and you've also been teaching school for 8 years. You taught first to third grades.
Yes.
You've lived in many places.
Yes.
Maryland, Thailand, Hawaii. You have a daughter who attends UCLA and a dog named Coda. I like the part where you didn't say anything about your daughter's name, but you made sure you let us know that your dog's name's Coda.
Because I expected you to know her name since I actually brought her to work out with me before.
Yes. So yeah. I found that interesting in there.
I was expecting you would connect with the dogs.
I did. I know that your passions are travel, dance, trying new food, learning, reading, languages, planning events. I know all these things because sometimes you forget that we're Facebook friends and I see your mochi donut posts or all these wonderful things that you're eating.
Yeah.
And you're forever dancing in the studio. We'll be in these great Lady Lifter sessions and you'll just be dancing away, having a good time. One of the things that I adore about you is really what you said that your goals and your aspirations are as well. That your aspirations are to live a happy life and to hopefully make a positive impact on others along the way. I know that you're making a positive impact on others because I have felt a positive impact just by knowing you.
Oh,
but I know that those students that you work with and those parents that of those students, I am positive in making a positive impact in their lives. So would you tell us about how you keep students and parents fit in what you do?
Yeah, I can definitely try to. And I want to say that everything that I'm telling you is all pretty much based on my opinion and my belief system in teaching. So we know that we send our kids to school to learn reading, writing, math, and all those basic skills. And I think that those things are very important. But as for myself being a teacher, I kind of want to go beyond that. I think there's the academic fitness, but there's the whole person kind of fitness. You've talked about that you have to be fit spiritually and physically and all of those different things. So since my focus is on learning, I want these kids to always be curious about the world. I think that we have kids who are being fed a lot of stuff with social media and television and video games that they're forgetting to look and ask and wonder. And when we do a lot of nonfiction, that's real information, not make believe, the kids are really interested. They want to know how the world is working. So we want to have those conversations. I always like to share my stories of where I've been, because I've had a lot of students who've never been out of the state or out of the country. I've come across students who've never really even been out of Kitsap County. So I want them to know that there's so much more to learn. So I think because learning should never, ever stop. I mean, obviously, like I need to learn about what congruent something or other. Yeah. So it should never stop.
Or, Hungary could also be a country
it's not always
your stomach. Yeah. So
exactly. So learning should never end, right? Learning should never end. I think if you stop learning, in some ways you stop living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I think that's fantastic. So I think, a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on teachers and again, you don't have to comment on any of this stuff. I'm just going to kind of talk out loud. we put a lot of pressure on teachers to do that learning. But when you take a look at the amount of time in a year and the amount of time that the kids spend with the teachers, I mean, we're talking like 10 to 15% of the time. It's, although sometimes we think, gosh, our kids are always in school, realistically speaking, they're only there 15% of the year from a time perspective. So tell me, based upon that, what do you think people can do in that other, let's just say 85 to 90% of the time to help keep their own students fit, or what students can do to keep themselves fit? Do you got any tips or tricks that what people can do outside, to make sure that learning is always going?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, it depends on each family too, like what's important to them. So the academic fit, like I would say, stay on top of what your kids are learning, and then practicing them at those skills at home too. But, there's also more than just the academic skills. So teaching kids about the world and just having conversations. In my class, I don't send homework home. And I know some parents are like, what? But I learned this phrase somewhere, and I wish I remembered where. But the phrase is, you have to learn to read so you can read to learn. So the only thing I ask for families to do is to spend 20 minutes a day reading. And it could be that the kids are reading or the family is reading with the kids. I also encourage my families to spend time and just have conversations with their kids. I also think it's important that when they're doing things with the kids, like let the kids ask the questions, let them have those conversations and sometimes guide what they want to learn about. Just, whole life kind of learning.
Yeah, lifelong learning.
Yeah,
absolutely.
just be engaged.
Yeah.
Be engaged. Do things with your kids.
I think that's one of the key components there, is just to ask, what did you learn today? But not just to take the shoulder shrug approach and think, I don't know, but just really get down and really ask them, and really be involved in what they're learning.
I agree. I know that I heard somewhere, I think it was actually I shouldn't say because I don't remember, but someone had said, don't ask your kids, how was your day? Because that's when you will get that shrug, or I don't know, be more specific. What did you learn in math today? What did you read in school today? What was your favorite part in school today? So a little bit more targeted, and then you might get more from your kids. You might still get a shrug if you have a teenager, but you might get a little bit more. What did you play at recess?
Yeah.
Something that's interesting. Whatever's interesting to your kid, they're more likely to share.
Sure. Yeah, growing up, I remember we would do flashcards, we would do all kinds of things. I mean, we were always really engaged in that. I remember as a kid, and so, and then somehow, I think just with life, we've just put a lot of that on the teachers to do the academic, or maybe even sometimes, some of the social skills and stuff. We put a lot of that on the school system, and so. And you do a tremendous job, and you do a phenomenal job. And so just knowing you and knowing, how you operate your life, I can only imagine that you do that with that same zest and that same vigor and that same engagement and fun and passion in your classroom as well. So I think you're a phenomenal teacher, without a doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I want to add one more thing.
Please.
Have you heard of the power of yet?
No.
So a lot of teachers are big into growth mindset. So one of the things that parents can do too, because you're talking about the flashcards, so it made me think about that. Not every child is built the same way. Not every child is meant to get an A in English, right? We all have strength in different areas. Like I've had kids in my class who are really good academically, but if it came to an activity where we had to be creative and build some kind of structure, they might have struggled. Whereas the kid who didn't ace math or reading and writing, but they were super great in that, and they could think beyond, well, if we have this problem, let's try it this way. So I would urge parents, like if your kid is not strong in an area, like help support them, but also encourage them in the areas that they're strong in. And also like to teach this growth mindset, like I might not know it now. We say, I don't know it yet, but you still have an opportunity to keep learning and keep trying. It's one of the things that we'd like to see from our students too, is some perseverance. So that seems to be a struggle for a lot of kids right now.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, that's fantastic. One of the things that we like to ask people on the Fitness Full Circle podcast is if you were to write an autobiography, what would said autobiography title be? You could pick a title for an autobiography.
That's a hard question. My initial reaction was to be like, a hot mess survives. But we're gonna try to stay positive here, right?
So you can't say, the glorious dumpster fire.
Yeah. Oh, just keep swimming.
From Nemo. From Finding Nemo. I love it.
Life has thrown so many different things my way.
Yeah.
And if we're trying to stay positive here, and I'm gonna give myself some credit, I just keep moving and just keep swimming, which is funny because I'm not a strong swimmer.
Yeah.
So.
I love it.
But my memory is about as good as Dory's.
Yeah. Squirrel.
Yeah.
So if Just Keep Swimming was made into a major motion picture, who would be cast for your character?
I feel like if I don't say my daughter, whose name is Cheyenne.
Yeah.
If I don't
and your dog's name's Coda. We already covered that one.
So I feel like Cheyenne would have to be me because she might wonder why I didn't cast her, and then Coda might have to be like the flounder or the animal sidekick, hey, or whoever.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's great. So yeah, this would be made, and then your daughter would play the role of your character. I think that's fantastic.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes, and then if I wanted to pick an actual celebrity, I'd probably have to get my daughter's input on that too.
Yeah, deal. Well, we should have brought her on this show. Maybe next time. We also do this virtually, so if we have to bring her on the show, we can certainly do that virtually as
okay.
Well. So
she's got a lot of opinions.
Good. Okay, great job with your interview. That was tremendous.
When do I start?
And you're about to be hired. It's we're almost there. We're almost there. We just got a couple more segments that we put you through. Podcast participants, they have to go through what we call the grinder. And the grinder is a series of simple would you rather questions relating to topics to be discussed on the podcast.
Okay.
General topics or whatever I feel like.
Oh, swell.
So yeah, this is a would you rather. So you're a little bit Hawaiian, you're a little bit Thai. Yeah, you've lived in both places. So what I want to know is loco moco or pad thai?
Oh, can I do loco moco with a side of pad thai?
You didn't know that I was going to start with such hard questions, did you? You were not ready for that.
Food related. Yeah. I just want it all.
No, in this would you rather, you have to choose one or the other, loco moco or pad thai.
Well, I'm going to say loco moco because I haven't had it in a while.
Nice. Good. Okay. Would you rather go back to Zoom classrooms or continue with in-person learning? In-person
learning.
Yeah.
That was an easy one.
That was easy. That was the easy answer. Okay. This one may be difficult. I know that you're a fan of the Bachelor show. So better Bachelor, Colton Underwood or Ken Higgins?
I don't know those two.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm one of those people like I like that song, but I don't ever know who the singer is or the name of the song. Okay. I like the show, but I never remember the names of the people.
Well, that's fine.
It's surprising that I can remember all of my students' names.
Yeah, no, that's I researched vigorously.
You researched too?
I researched bachelors on who would be the best bachelor and for the ultimate fail right there.
Well, I could tell you about the Bachelorette.
Okay.
So the Bachelorette, and the reason is because we just finished watching, and there were 2 Bachelorettes this round. Gabby or Rachel. I think I prefer Gabby.
Deal. Well, because you're a co-host, you can also make up your own grinder. So very good. So you just did your own. You just did your own grinder. So that was really good. That was really good. Okay. So you got through that part. Now we're gonna move on to the section that's fit or flop. And this is a bunch of occupational specific or show related topics that you answer fit if it's a good idea, or flop if it's not so much.
Okay.
Hawaii shave ice, fit or flop?
Oh, fit.
Fit. So always a good one with the food one. Okay.
Particularly with the honeydew. Have you had Malona?
No.
So it's a honeydew flavor, and then double dose of condensed milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell.
And then 6 pumps of caramel on top.
No, just the condensed milk.
Okay.
From Wyola Shave Ice.
Gotcha. Wyola Shave Ice, who is not a sponsor of the podcast, but Wyola, if you want to get on in this thing, we have sponsorships available. Online dating apps.
Oh, it's flopping right now.
Flopping.
Like a fish out of water.
Yeah. And the last one, I know that you love being a teacher. That's a passion that you've had. It's something you continue to fulfill. But you also mentioned that you enjoy event planning. What about event planning as an occupation? Is that fit or is that a flop?
Like the occupation as an occupation or an occupation for me?
Occupation for you.
Oh, I think it could be a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because you love travel.
I do love travel.
And you love teaching others.
I do love teaching, and I like taking care of others.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, I wanted to be an event planner when I was in college, but life took a turn.
Yeah, passion for
Sharp
kids.
turn.
Passion for kids took a turn. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jen, you did a great job. That closes out your podcast debut. Tremendous job. I really enjoyed having you. I knew this was going to be a lot of fun because I get along so well with you. You're kind of like that sister. If I could handpick a sister, you would be that sister.
And you would have been that bigger brother I never had. Not sure I always wanted.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. If there's like a medal that I can have to say biggest brother that she never wanted, number one, right? I'll take that. Anyway, tremendous job. I would love to have you on some more podcasts. I think you did a great job. Is that something that you'd like to do? Would you like to be on some more podcasts?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Do I have to do more smarter than a fifth grader? Because
no, but I'm actually thinking, just because I know of your relationship status, we might make you the bachelor on one of these podcasts. We might maybe what's that show? Bachelor number one. How would you? What was that show called? Do you remember what that show was called? The dating. It was called the dating game. Was it called, I think it may have been called the dating game. Yeah.
Dating Connection. Are we talking about the game show like from the
80s? Yeah.
Where I can't see them.
Yeah, there's a wall.
I can't see them.
Yeah, you can't see them. We're gonna do that one. So
you know what? I'm gonna ask your wife to screen these men before you bring them on for me.
So you guys have to stay tuned. I will drop that out to everybody in Fitness Full Circle Nation when that one's coming up, because that one's going to be a cherry. I'm going to have to get to work on planning that. Speaking of planning, next podcast, I got Scotty Mack from Podcast 16. He's coming back on as a special guest, and we're bringing in Josiah Mokalu. He's coming on as a special guest. We finally got him in place. Nice. So stay tuned for those ones. Also, leave us a comment on any one of the platforms. Text me. Send a message under the door and get entered for a free t-shirt. What my guests don't know and co-hosts don't know is they're automatically getting a Fitness Full Circle t-shirt.
Woo!
The nice t-shirt. So anyway, drop a line, everybody. Thank you so much. It was great to have everybody. Continue listening. Bye, everyone.